in his debut. As we welcome you here to Sixers Post-Game Live, brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance, Amy Fadul, Jim Line, and Mark Jackson. And guys, we wondered what this debut would look like. It did not disappoint. James Harden with 27 points. The beard came to play, Mark Jackson.
And yes, he did. And he just not only scored buckets himself, he facilitated for everybody else to get wide open shots. That was pretty darn good basketball, entertaining basketball to watch.
And you see the 27 points, they jump off. He had 5 of 7 threes, so he was shooting it well. You knew that was part of his game. But, Jimmy, maybe an underrated aspect is his passing. He's averaging over 10 assists. He had 12 tonight, and some of the best passes. Really, for guys, they seemed like they didn't know how open they were until they got the ball.
That's a great point, Aim. And I was just looking at the stat sheet here. You ready to verify that even more? 39 threes by the Sixers because they were so open out on the perimeter. And as a result, they made probably more threes. I think they made 19, check the number, but a high number of attempts. Close to 50% of their shots were threes, and they were wide open. But the attention that the defense now will have to pay, number one, to Joel Embiid, and then you add James Harden to that mix. The people on the perimeter are going to get some tremendous looks.
Right on the button, Jimmy. 19 for 39 for 49%. All right, let's check in now with Kate Scott and Ala Abdinabi, who are joined by Joel Embiid.
All right, Joel, he had 27 points, 12 assists, and 8 rebounds, did James Harden in his debut tonight. What do you think of your new teammates?
Man, you should have seen my face every single time, especially in the fourth. You know, the first 3 quarters, obviously, making plays for all of us. That was probably the most wide open I've ever been in my career. Man, I had a lot of easy baskets. I used to have to work for everything, but in the fourth quarter, the shot making ability, you know, shot creation. Should have seen my face. I was just like, well, we never had this. Nothing close to it. So hopefully that continues. And we didn't even play our best, but I think we can be way better than that.
Well, let me ask you this. When you talk about how he helps you, can you see how James being in the lineup helps the other guys around you as well?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Easy shots after easy shots. You look at, you know, we just got to be winning shooters, which we were tonight. That's what we got to keep doing. But, you know, that's what he does. You know, attract a lot of attention. And when you got 2 guys on the floor that do the same thing in me and him, you know, it becomes a little easier for everybody else. So he's on everybody else to just, you know, make shots.
Want to know with James in the lineup, Joel. Congrats.
Thank you.
Keep smiling.
I heard a couple MVP chants. There are some Sixers fans in the building. They saw their big man getting interviewed by Kate Scott and Ala Abdinabi, who join us now. It is the crossover via WebEx by Cisco. And, guys, I mean, we were all excited to see. We had our popcorn ready. It did not disappoint. James Harden, you heard Joel there. Say it, Kate and Ala. He made everybody better. They hadn't had somebody that dynamic. Let's face it. He's the best shooting guard that they've had since Allen Iverson, right? I mean, he's the best scorer as a guard that they've had in over 20 years.
And I think something else that Joel said in that post-game interview just moments ago, Amy, is what's going to stand out. That isn't even their best, because this was just the start, right? And that was something you warned us of way back at the start of this game. Okay, we are all excited, but this is really the first time any of these guys are playing with him. So to win by 31 points the way they did and not play anywhere close to their best, I think tonight they put the league on notice.
Well, and I think what you're seeing is Joel's joy, genuine joy, on finally being able to play with a prototypical point guard, a point guard who plays and thinks like a point guard. He finally has that, and also, by the way, a point guard who's a scoring threat. That spaces out the floor for him. So I think what you're seeing is a guy really enjoying his basketball right now because life instantaneously got a lot easier for him.
Hey, Kate and Ala, Mark here. Welcome back, guys. Can we talk about the pace that Maxey was able to play with? I think he went up. If he was a 5-speed, he was now a 7-speed. Can we talk about the pace that he played with, the speed of the game that he brought back? It was a good combination to go with James Harden and the way Joel Embiid plays.
Well, again, this is what he brings to the table, an added dimension, right? When you've got guys who can score in the half court, who got guys who can defend, you've got guys who can shoot. But to have the guy who plays that in-between game, that changes ends of the floor so quickly, that can defend and then turn a burst of defense into good offense, all that is what he brings to the table. That and the ability to finish around the basket, too. He's a huge plus.
Well, and Mark, I'm glad you pointed that out, because that was one of the things I was wondering about. Because Joel and James are so comfortable slowing things down, as you mentioned, Tyrese is going to look, in my opinion, even faster, because now the guys around him are lulling the other team to sleep. So good call there, Mark.
Yeah, guys, how about, like, in terms of just the level of play, I'm shocked, I'll be honest with you, at how well this team played at both ends of the court. I mean, you said it, Ala, early, that this is a pretty good Minnesota team. They were playing well, and they're playing at home. The Sixers, like, destroyed this team.
Yeah, and usually the games in this building in particular, Coach, if you remember your history, are hard-fought matches. These are tough games that the Timberwolves don't easily give into. So to see this kind of outcome, I'm like you. I'm pleasantly surprised, but surprised nonetheless.
And I, meanwhile, am pretty excited. I'm trying not to get too excited, but we'll be honest. Ala and I couldn't sleep last night. We had to take naps today because we were up all night because we were so excited about this. So Sixers fans, you can be excited. We'll try not to get too excited, but we can be excited together.
Listen, it's going to be a fun final now, 23. Wow, yep. This was a really fun one to watch. We got a couple more to go. We can get excited. We can start to temper it up a little bit.
Exactly.
All right, guys, thanks so much. We appreciate you crossing it over with us.
Thanks, team.
What a debut for James Harden. We all wondered how it would work. I mean, I know it is game one, but it is seemingly working so well right now. So many different players elevating their games. It was funny, throughout this game, we watch all upstairs. We thought, well, maybe this is kind of a ho-hum game for Joel Embiid. 34 points. He had 34 points, and you barely thought about it because that's how dynamic James Harden is. No surprise that Joel Embiid is one of the best players, and you saw the MVP chance. But James Harden really elevated the game. Talked about Max. We talked about the different players that he made. Let's take a look at James Harden's numbers because he is our Colonial Nissan game changer. 35 minutes. He was a plus 35. That is a huge number. And I know players, Mark, when you're out there and you see a guy, then you think he's on our team.
It does wonders because let's just call it the way it is. You have another guy that's a Hall of Fame guy who can facilitate the ball, who will rebound the ball, but also will shoot the three at a high clip. And he's going to get you 20-some-odd points on a bad night. So when you got a player like that and he's on your team, you know, it's, oh, we're good, oh, we're damn good.
Yeah, the players enjoy it, and I know as head coach Doc Rivers did as well. Here is Rivers in Minnesota after this win.
Could that have gone any better?
No, it was pretty good. You know, it's funny, though. At halftime, we were shooting just 40%. But I thought we had a lot of great looks and just didn't make shots. And also thought we kind of overpassed a little bit in the first half. And I thought in the second half, guys took the shots that came to them. You know, Joel was terrific. Obviously, James and Max. You know, I thought Tobias was great. It's funny. He had a 6-point game. But he played just within the team. So, yeah, it was pretty good.
What were your initial impressions of both James overall and the way he worked with Joel in the pick and roll?
I thought they worked great together, played off of each other, kind of picked their spots. You know, we still, like me, I still have to just keep watching and learning different things we can do. There were, you know, we came out in the second half with that 1-2 pick and roll. And Tyrese got all the way to the basket. You know, that's something we haven't done. You know, Tyrese on the strong side corner and James's ISOs. We worked on that this morning. If he fires it, it's a straight line drive. He got there. So there's some things that we prepared for that happened. And then there's some things that you can see James and Joel can do that you just let their talent do it.
You just mentioned Tobias. I know he only shot, I think he shot 2 for 9, but it seemed like a lot of his looks were wide open looks.
Great looks. He even said that walking in. He said, my gosh, I got a lot of great looks, open drives, you know. I thought Matisse, you know, like they're trying to help off of him. And, you know, one of the things we talked about is running the floor, getting layups, crashing the glass, you know. We gave him free reign. Like, listen, if they're not going to block you out, then in the half, him getting that tip dunk, I thought those were really confident things for him.
And then do you feel like maybe the guys got surprised by how many open looks they got? It just kind of seemed like they got the ball and they were like, wow.
Yeah. Ferg, I thought a bunch of them. You know, George doesn't hesitate, so he's perfect for James. Like, when we're laughing, like, George, he's perfect because when it comes, he's shooting it. And that's what you need. You need guys like that. You know, I thought Tyrese, you know, first play in the second half, he could have turned the corner, and he kind of didn't, and we got on him. And James got on him. Next play, he turned the corner. So those are little things we have to still just – we got a lot of learning to do.
But before James even started playing for you guys, you mentioned just, you know, what he was like on the bench and just kind of how engaged he was. So now in an actual game, like, just maybe what did you observe from him?
Same thing. Floor, I just thought they all were talking. More one talker begets the next talker. You know, the more talking you have, the more your team grows. I thought James was great in timeouts, speaking up. Then Joel speaks up. Then everybody speaks up. So that kind of stuff we're going to need. We're going to go through times where it's not that easy and it's going to be hard. We're going to have to be able to talk to each other. And
then this obviously gave you an opportunity to try a bunch of different lineup combinations.
Yeah, but we went with the rotation we wanted to overall.
Okay.
You know, we had, for the most part, 2 on the floor. Tyrese picking up those, I think it was Tyrese picked up the fouls, kind of messed our rotation up a little bit, but that's going to happen as well, you know.
Doc, can you just talk about his and ones, his ability to get those and ones?
Yeah, I've lived through them. I've seen them firsthand. You know, I don't know, one of the coaches, might have been Jamie Young, said, geez, it's so much nicer to see it on the other side of the fence, you know. But I thought he picked and choose. We ran a lot of pick and roll and 2-man game stuff, and then when we got the right switch, we went to that. You know, we look at that the same way we look at a post up for Joel. You know, when Joel has the ball in the post, that's an ISO. When James has the right matchup in the right spot, that's an ISO. And so we like them both.
Mike, can you kind of, you mentioned the transition game, that was going to be a big thing. It felt like that was something that we saw right away.
I thought the biggest difference was that early on. You know, it's funny, guys aren't used to running and getting the ball. And the ball was, I mean, he threw a bunch of them today. Matisse got a couple. And the one thing we keep telling Tyrese is we can get you out in the open court. Like, if you just run, he'll get you the ball. Tobias got a couple. That will be the biggest thing, the biggest change in us is because of James' ability to see the floor.
I mean, just in general, too, like, did you feel like your other players, it felt a lot easier for them tonight just to...
Yeah, I mean, it has to. You have Joel Embiid and James Harden on the floor, and they're going to draw a lot of attention. And so all we talked about in these day and a half, 2 days is spacing and being ready when the ball comes. And I thought our guys overall did that.
Is it safe to say those pairings, the way they went in the first half, is what you want to try to do?
Well, right now, I mean, it could change, but we do like that. We like, you know, that first stretch with all of them, with James hamstring, getting him out to get him back in. He'll play 3 stretches, basically him and Tobias.
Yeah.
You know, that gives Tyrese a chance to didn't be the ball handler for a while as well. So far, so good.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
So obviously he said, you know, the coach is going to say, well, I want to see more. We got to see more of it. He doesn't want to get too hype, but we can get hype, of course. Absolutely. Of course we can get hype. There were so many elements in this game, and you mentioned it. You heard it mentioned right there. 19, talk about the three-point shooting. 19 of 39. That's almost half. It's 49% thereabouts, percentage-wise. So many different spacing. And Doc Rivers, to your point, Mark, talked about Tobias Harris. Well, these shots are going to go down. Everything is going to start to come together. When it does, how dangerous can this Sixers team be?
Amy, we spoke about it before Doc got on. This team is so dangerous because when you have 1 or 2 scorers, it's easier to defend. But when you have 4 guys that's capable of putting up 20-plus points, and yes, I do put Maxey in that category, you have to pick and choose your poison, which means you always have guys with the ability to score the ball. So it's so difficult for you to guard them. And then as long as you have Maxey and you have Joel Embiid on the court at the same time, they're hard to score on, period. So this team is playing with, I mean, this team is, This team is very impressive. Let's just say that.
Yes, they are. And it's just one of the final 24. Of course, you can see right here on NBC Sports Philadelphia. We got lots to get to tonight here on Sixers Postgame Live. But it is the best part of the show after a win. Clap your hands, everybody. I want you to pay special attention to this graphic coming up. Postgame Live brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. And the headline says it all. Good luck, other teams. Are you kidding me? And Tobias Harris isn't even featured. Here's a guy that can also give you 18 to 20 points on any given night. A magical night for Tyrese Maxey. We mentioned how much he's taken that second step. It seems like he's even benefiting even more, Jim, when you look at what James Harden's been able to do with him.
Yeah, I don't want to overstate it. I'm going to steal your phrase, Aim. This was a magical night. That's how good this team played tonight. And I think Amy's right. You could have next game, it could be Tobias instead of, let's say, Maxey having that kind of game. And ready, how about as just a little tidbit, how about double-figure scoring for Matisse?
Right.
Who goes out there and gets 11 points and 7 boards. This was a tremendous performance by the 76ers, hopefully a sign of what we're looking forward to.
That's right. We do want to remind you, just in case you can't see the graphic there, that the NBA Finals do start June 2nd. So we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But, just if you are, planning your summer vacations, just maybe keep that week or so clear. Of course, we kid, but it is hard not to get too excited when you think about this. Tyrese Maxey has taken his game overall to the next level. But it seems like when you think about what he was able to do tonight, he is the subject of our game. I can just go ahead and score this, and I'm going to go 15 miles an hour right down the lane.
Yeah, and you heard Doc Rivers, Aim, allude to the fact, like they really tried to stress to Maxey, if you run, he will get you the ball. And you just saw watching those clips right there. I mean, Maxey must have had 5-6 layups from Harden's assist just by virtue of either running the floor or cutting hard.
It's funny, when we do these post-game shows, we have these, our game changer and these vision cares. It was so funny at the start of the show, I started to say that Joel Embiid was our game changer because I believe out of the X amount of shows, 99% of it, he's our game changer. So, sorry, Joel, maybe your game-changing days have been numbered when you think about it because James Harden is here. But what a dynamic duo, and I don't think that we can overstate that this seemingly is a perfect marriage right now. Right, Mark?
It is, Amy. It is. And we can say all we want, but James is this, Joel is this. These two guys fit so like a hand in a glove. They really do fit very well together. But I just don't look at those two and say they fit well together. That starting five makeup fits perfectly. It does. Now, people say the bench. The bench has enough shooters out there. As long as Doc can keep 2 of those 4 guys on the court with that bench, this team is a complete team. It really is.
It was a lot of fun to watch. Let's check in now with Tyrese Maxey, who had a lot of fun in this one, too.
Coach, what if you just got to make a point with James for the first time?
Yeah, it was good. It was fun. What he does is amazing on the basketball court, and I think he just elevates everybody's game to a higher level.
Did you feel like he was able to get you more open looks, like just off the bounce and things like that?
Yeah, just because, it's multiple players that can bring the ball up and, create for others. So, when he gets a rebound or he's closer to the outlet and, I run a wing or fill the lanes, he's always looking ahead, pitching it ahead, and trying to make people better.
Was there anything that surprised you with the way he performed today?
I think today just his defensive communication. From shoot around today, he was extremely adamant about defending, and that's how we're going to win. And the offense will take care of itself.
You talked in that Milwaukee game, just when he pulled you over to the side in that game, but just being on the floor with him, maybe give us a glimpse of kind of what he was like, either in huddles or just on the bench in the locker room. What is it?
Communication. I mean, I talked about his IQ a while back, and when you're on the court, he's actually playing, so he can see what's going on the floor. His communication goes to another level, and just him being out there, I think it helped everybody, and then his communication, his talk was extremely important.
I know you only played against James a couple of times, a couple of last year, I think once this year. When he hits those and one step-back threes, that could be a bit demoralizing. How was it to kind of be on the good side?
Yeah, that feels way better. It feels way better because I know from experience in Brooklyn when he's doing his twin legs and step back on me and you touch him and he gets a foul and you just be like, But no, it was great. I mean, you know, that comes because of his ability to pass the ball. So they're so worried about him passing, and then, you know, they're laying off, and now he's just creating for himself. So he's talented, and I just appreciate his hard work and his communication and his dedication. I think that's one thing that I'm surprised with.
Doc's talked a lot about the transition game and your ability to get out and run and kind of open up spots for that. It seemed like you guys were immediately able to do that tonight. Did you kind of notice that right away, that you could get some looks just getting out and running and catching, you know, football passes from him?
Yeah, I mean, I dropped one today, and I told him it was my fault. But yeah, like I said, when he gets a rebound or he's closer to the outlet, that gives me the opportunity to run the lane and fill the lane and try to create for myself and others. And he just kept telling me, like, as soon as he gets, you know, the rebound, just take off, make sure my man didn't, you know, box out or whatever, but run a lane and create for myself and create for others. So, you know, I think that's one thing that's going to help us change the pace, especially because, you know, our pace is kind of slow in the half court. But yeah, it's a good change up.
He's had so much responsibility with the long run this entire year. Felt like with him, he was able to find some open looks and specifically off ball plays that cut at the end of the game. I guess, are you surprised it came that quickly? Because it looked like you guys have been doing it for a while.
Yeah, just basketball, you know, knowing IQ. And I mean, just being a fan of basketball, I've watched, you know, James for a long time now, you know, since I was young, of course. And you know, just watching the defense, like I said, pay so much attention to him when he's dribbling the ball just because he's dangerous. And you know, even your man, no matter who you are, is paying attention to the ball as well. So, you know, a lot of open looks for, you know, a lot of our guys, and a lot of easy baskets are going to come from that. And you know, we have Joel who does the same thing. So, you know, it's just amazing, and his communication has really helped me as well.
You got a couple wide open spot up looks too that you knocked down. I expect you think you'll be getting a lot of those too with those two guys out there on the court with you.
Yeah, they were upset with me. They said I passed up some, but you know, I mean, I've been saying it, and I'm gonna have to work on it because they demand so much attention. So to be able to space the floor, and then they can't help, defense can't help, then that gives you know, our players, our scorers, a lot more room to operate. You know, it's gonna be great.
Only one game, but does a night like tonight kind of make you confirm to you, like, okay, this is what we have the potential to be now with the group that we have?
Yeah, we're just gonna go out there and fight every night, and go out there and compete extremely hard, and, you know, do our best to win. And this is about winning games and building camaraderie and building chemistry and building to the right direction towards the playoffs. And I think that we took a step forward tonight.
Yeah, with that, kind of, what do you view as kind of the next priorities as you guys go through these next couple games, shoot-arounds, practices, all that stuff?
Attention to detail, because, you know, late in games you have to start running things, and the game slows down sometimes, and, you know, the half-court game. So just making sure everybody knows where to be in the right spots, how to get guys to their spots to score, and just keep the ball moving, spread the wealth.
Thanks, Eric.
There we go, Tyrese Maxey. I want to go back to something, Jimmy, he talked about, and he said, you know, James Harden told me to get out there and run. Well, if there's one thing Tyrese Maxey can do, it can run. He's one of the fastest guys in the league, and James Harden loves to throw that outlet pass, that head pass. Do you think this is a really good combination? We know how well, so far, Embiid and Harden work. What about the marriage between Harden and Maxey?
Yeah, no, I think it's a terrific opportunity for Maxey, and I think you described it well in saying that it's an opportunity. I think the fact that Doc probably, and Sam Cassell as well, sold that to Maxey, that, you know, your game is going to really benefit from being out there on the court with a player. And you heard Maxey there alluding to the fact that your man who's guarding you, he's watching James Harden when he has the ball. It's instinctive. Even if you told the defender, don't pay attention to James Harden. We're going to guard him one-on-one. I got news for you. That guy is so good, the players know it, and they realize help is going to be needed at any time. And you, as a result of that, are going to be the beneficiary offensively of a lot of open opportunities.
We saw that 28 points for Tyrese Maxey tonight, and that a lot of those coming courtesy of those 12 assists from James Harden. All right, we're going to take another quick timeout here on Sixers Post Game Live. We'll talk about the connection that Joel Embiid and James Harden had tonight, and then we'll continue to grow in the...
Watching these two guys night in and night out.
Yes, there's an inside game with these two big men, but there certainly is an outside game. Karl-Anthony Towns said he wanted to be the best big man shooter. He won the three-point shooting contest contest, 29 points. It was quite the display over the All-Star weekend. He had 2 tonight. Joel had 3, including one, I believe, Steph Curry range, though he didn't turn around and admire it from afar. But this is a complete player when you look at Joel Embiid. How much better can he be with James Harden, Jim?
Well, it's hard to say that he can be much better than he's been playing, to be honest with you. I think what you're going to see is the Sixers are going to be like really, really difficult to take out most nights, because the way they can come about you offensively, not just with these 2 stars doing the damage, but because of what the defenses are going to have to do to try to contain them, it's going to create immense opportunities for other people. And I will just refer to Maxi's game tonight. I mean, come on, that was an yes, you can trust your eyes. That was an all-star level performance by Tyrese Maxey. Yes, he was like let loose because of the presence of those other 2 guys.
You mentioned how much better he can make players. I mean, when you look at the 12 assists, 5 of the assists, Mark Jackson, for James Harden went to Joel Embiid. And that doesn't even count when they fouled Joel Embiid and then he went on to make the free throws and he didn't make the bucket. There was a debate upstairs whether maybe you get assists for those free throws. Jimmy, you want to weigh in on that? Do they get assists?
No, I've always felt that. I used to bring that up at NBA meetings, and I got scoffed at back then. Okay, but if I throw a dime to Mark Jackson, okay, meaning I set him up and give him a play at the rim, and he goes to the foul line and knocks down 2, that's not an assist. I mean, come on. In other words, somebody's going to say, no, the definition is if you give Mark a field goal. How about the definition of I give him 2 points?
Right? There you go. So if he makes them both. But
and feed me all day, Coach.
Exactly.
I'm going to give you the buckets.
And he's going to make his free throws just like Joel Embiid is. I mean, this is something that we talked about. You know, Joel Embiid said he's never played with someone like this before. James Harden's never played with someone like Joel Embiid before. And we're going to hear from James Harden coming up. But he has to love the fact that he can lob up for the big man in any kind of situation. If he gets fouled, there's probably going to be 2 free throws made.
He has a big man that's just not only a catch and finisher, he is a complete player. You know, you look at the big man James Harden has had recently with LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, go back to Houston, Capella. You know, he's had some amazing big men that was catch and finish, but he's never played with somebody as skilled and as large as Joel Embiid.
We are standing by for James Harden. We've heard from Joel Embiid. We've got to hear from the other man of the hour. I mean, they can have top billing at this point right now. We'll come up with a fun nickname. The bearded process.
Harden not only is he a really bright player, you heard Maxey say like a high IQ guy, you know, but he was involved. You know, he wanted to be with the program right from the start, and to me it was very evident.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Our next storyline comes courtesy of PointsBet's exclusive Name a Bet feature. They created this custom wager on whether any 2 Sixers would score 25 or more. How about 3? The Sixers saw your 2 players raise you 1 more. Joel Embiid, James Harden, and Tyrese Maxey all surpassed the 25-point mark. So a $15 bet won $10. Mark, is this a great night, or is this something we should expect all the time, the new norm?
We should expect this. You know why? Because it may not be Joel, James, and Maxey. It may be Joel, James, and Tobias. Or it may be Tobias, Maxey, and Joel. Like, they have so many combinations that 3 out of the 4 scorers on this team can score 25-plus points a night. And that's a scary sight.
Yes, it is. And this is something we should all expect. It is the new normal for around here when you think about what to expect. But, Jimmy, the level of energy that they had, can they sustain that? I think that's maybe what everybody's wondering. Everybody's up for this game, right? It's James Harden's debut. Can they sustain that?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought, Aim. Really, what I'd said to Kate and Nala after the game, I don't know that you could get a more impressive debut than this. I mean, the Sixers, they were sensational. I'm just going to say it like it is. So to your question, can you sustain it? And I think emotion is a big part of it. They were out to like prove that this is what we wanted. I mean, if Daryl Morey was like sitting watching it salivating, understandably so, I got news for you. There were players on the court who weren't too far behind them, like so elated to have this mix together. And I got news for you. While they were playing, they were understanding. We got some serious possibilities with this group. Yes.
You have to start recognizing it. I mean, at this point, all the games are big, Mark. So maybe that is something that helps because they only have 23 games left.
Yes, that is. Every game is a big game because it's with the wins and losses moving up in the standings. Secondly, gelling. How many games you get to play with everybody being healthy? That's important. Third, we have to find chemistry. We have to find rotation, who plays well with other things like that. So it's a lot of things that has the perfect timing to add up and build and momentum until the playoffs.
I just want to bottle this and sprinkle it through the rest of those 23 games. Let's check in with the two-headed monster that the Sixers feature, Joel Embiid and James Harden now.
Finally get this game going.
I mean, for me, I haven't been on the court in so long. It felt like, my body feels great personally, and then just to be around these guys who all have the same, common goal, coaching staff, and just top to bottom of winning. And tonight, I think defensively we were really good, and that's what led to our offense, being even better.
What was the whole day like for you? Was it
just a normal game day. Just getting my mind right to try to be the best player on the court.
Routines now that help you kind of get into that?
No, I mean, just do whatever it takes, man, every single day to help my team be the best that we can be.
Joel was talking this morning about how you kind of got this reputation as like being this so-called bad teammate, but Joel was
Why? I don't know why. That's for the media. The media say that. I feel like I'm one of the best teammates that the NBA has seen, on the court and off the court.
That's what I said this morning.
Oh, see?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, just because the current situations happen, whatever happened, that doesn't mean that I'm a bad teammate. Me personally, I just feel like I needed to do what was best for my career and help myself and be happy. And it doesn't harp on like whether I'm a bad teammate or not.
Sort of to that point, James, do you feel like you have a point to prove here?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do you feel like tonight?
I think we all do.
Do you feel like tonight was
Tonight was a great start. Tonight was a great start, but we got a long way to go. And we'll do whatever it takes every single day to build them great habits so we're prepared when the time is right.
Do you guys, the way Doc has staggered us so far, like generally say you're going to play with Tyrese and you're going to play with Tobias and you're going to split up, do you like the way that rotation is going to go?
Yeah, I mean, however Doc draws it up and sees it, I'm willing to do it. And as long as we can win, doesn't matter.
What do you think you have to prove?
What?
I mean, you said
we all have something to prove. All right, we got one common goal, and everybody knows what their goal is.
What do you specifically? Do you feel like you have anything specifically to prove?
I've been doing this thing for a very long time. I don't got nothing to prove individually. As a unit, I think we got something to prove.
I know you practice as a shooter on this group, but being in a game, I imagine it's a little different experience. Just when you're kind of going through those first couple of minutes, can you take us through just what you're trying to see on the floor and we really start trying to get acclimated with your teammates?
Well, I mean, I know how well Joe's playing right now. So, if anything, I want to make sure he continues that, keep going, and get him going as much as possible. Because I know once he gets going, it's going to be the game easier for everybody else. And then me personally, just let the game come to me. I'm very good at that, and I can be a playmaker, I can be a scorer, and just take the shots when I need to.
You talked to the opening press conference about how you're impressed with Tyrese and his athleticism. With his speed, it seems you hit him with a couple passes, he was able to get that ball in the corner and attack. It seems like you guys have been able to already find ways to kind of utilize that.
We're unselfish. We just want to win, and you got guys from top to bottom that feels that way on the court. Great things are going to happen more times than not. So, like I said, my job is to come in and add to each individual player on this team.
Fun fact, that's the only time Joel Embiid has never been asked a question in media availability after the game. Obviously, he will talk. We've heard from him earlier. We're going to bring you hopefully some Joel Embiid comments later. I know they'll talk about it in Sixers Outsiders, which is coming up at 11:30. But James Harden, he said, listen, I'm here to win, and I'm here to do what I can and be a part of the team. He says all the right things, Mark Jackson.
He does. He says the things you want to hear. One common goal, win a championship. What I have to prove? Nothing. And I did everything but win a championship. James Harden is at a very important stage of his career, similar if you go back to Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. He came here for a purpose of winning a championship, and he's combining his talents along with Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, and Maxey, along with other guys with Doc Rivers at the helm. We have to sit back and take a minute to admire what we're seeing now, because this is the start of something very special. And I think sometimes when you're a basketball player and you had a certain level of success, It's about timing. And I think James Harden coming to this team at this point of his career is perfect timing to add to Joel. And I think that's only one common goal, and I believe him, is to win a championship.
He's been an MVP. He's been a scoring champ. 10-time All-Star. Only thing left on the list. That would be a championship. All right, we're going to take another quick timeout here on Sixers Post Game Live. We're going to tell you as soon as we are done. Sixers out.